You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 18th day of December, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here or right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first one is private, members only, and those taking the 1-week free trial. If you haven't taken the 1-week free trial, when Michael joins us a little later, he'll walk you through step by step how to take the trial. We'll get you indicators indicating today, and your trial will begin tomorrow. But don't worry, you'll still get 5 consecutive trading days on the trial. Now, when the live trading room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, which is open to the public. That's everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the form, you're done. Going forward, what will happen every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. There's a link in that email. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit of that is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. And there'll be days when you're busy, can't join live, but want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember, youtube.com/CFRN. It's the Christian Financial Radio Network, but all you have to remember is CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, simulcasting if you will, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,700 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. youtube.com/CFRN. This is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. First, our devotional, word of prayer, a little bit of news, recap of the alerts. Then Michael will join us, give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform for about 30 minutes. And then I'll come back and wrap things up with our good word for the day. Now, the topic of the devotion that we're in right now, day 2 of 12. Strengthening your faith with the heavenly gifts. Today's scripture is 1 Corinthians 12, verses 4 through 11. God's various, and I'm going to share it from the Message translation. God's various gifts are handed out everywhere, but they all originate in God's Spirit. God's various ministries are carried out everywhere, but they all originate in God's Spirit. God's various expressions of power are in action everywhere, But God himself is behind it all. Each person is giving something to do that shows who God is. Everyone gets in on it. Everyone benefits. All kinds of things are handed out by the Spirit and to all kinds of people. The variety is wonderful. Wise counsel, clear understanding, simple trust, healing the sick, miraculous acts, proclamation, distinguishing between spirits, tongues, and interpretation of tongues. All these gifts have a common origin, but are handed out one by one by the one Spirit of God. He decides who gets what and when. So what are these gifts? Paul tells us about the 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit, precious gifts that God gives to help us live and build our faith. Here's a simple and direct overview of each gift. The language of wisdom. It is a word of wisdom that the Holy Spirit gives us at the right time to solve a problem or clarify a confusing situation. It is an instant understanding that comes from above and answers difficult questions or counter falsehoods. Next is the language of science or knowledge. It is a revelation that the Spirit gives us to understand a hidden situation or problem. It could be knowing something that is not visible to human eyes, but is relevant to helping or protecting someone. Next is the gift of faith. This is not ordinary faith, but a deep and instantaneous trust that God will answer a request or do something special. It is a surge of trust that goes beyond personal abilities and is based on a supernatural certainty. The gifts of healing. These are manifestations of God's power to heal, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual. As a sign of God's love and mercy, these gifts aim to heal and restore strength. The gift of miracles. With this gift, God intervenes by breaking natural laws, doing something that would normally be impossible. It is a clear sign of his power and an encouragement for the faith of the community. The gift of prophecy. This is a short word of encouragement, edification, or consolation that the Holy Spirit inspires for the good of the church. It's not a matter of predicting the future, but of a useful and motivating message for the moment. The discernment of spirits. This gift allows one to understand if a person or a situation is inspired by God, man, or contrary forces. It is an important gift for distinguishing what is true from what can be deceptive. The gift of tongues. With this gift, a supernatural language is spoken that the person does not know, but is inspired by the Spirit. It is a prayer directed to God that can help connect with him on a deeper level. And number 9, the interpretation of tongues. It is the gift that allows one to understand and explain the meaning of supernatural languages, to make a message expressed in tongues useful to everyone. These gifts are offered by the Holy Spirit to strengthen the church and help us live our faith with strength and authenticity. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many gifts, talents, and abilities that you have given us through the Holy Spirit. Help us to use these gifts wisely and for your glory. Teach us to work together in unity, respecting and valuing the unique roles you have assigned to each of us. May we serve with humility, guided by your Spirit, and always seek the common good. Let our lives reflect your love and power at work within us. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen and happy Wednesday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. I'm going to start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently, the Dow is up 141 points, snapping the slump it's been in. NASDAQ up 33, S&P 500 up 11, the Russell 2000 up 5. No movers, no shakers. Typically, it is a pretty quiet trading day when the Fed is going to make their announcement, which they will at 2 p.m. this afternoon, and then the press conference will be at 2:30. In the commodity basket, crude oil is up $1, trading 71.08 last. That's a gain of almost 1.5%, or $1,000 per contract traded. Gold down $10.60, trading 26.51.50 last. Silver down 28 cents, trading 30.64 last. That's a drop of almost 1%. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei fell 282 points, the Shanghai rose 20, the Hang Seng gained 164, which is almost 1%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 4, the DAX up 14, the CAC up 18. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And so far, it's a green Radio Wednesday Fed Day here in the US of A. Let's take a peek at the news. Ukraine's Secret Service assassinated Igor Kirillov, the head of Russia's chemical and biological weapons defense program, yesterday. It marks the highest level killing of a Russian military official inside Russia since the start of the war in 2022. Russia, of course, has vowed to retaliate. Scientists have discovered the first ever pair of binary stars in the vicinity of the black hole at the center of our galaxy. The discovery suggests black holes are not as destructive as previously believed and sheds light on the evolution of stars in the universe. And a San Francisco jury has found tech consultant Nima Momini guilty of second-degree murder in the 2023 fatal stabbing of 43-year-old Cash App founder Bob Lee. Yesterday's verdict came after 7 days of deliberation, following a 6-week trial that featured a narrative involving drugs, partying, and alleged sexual assault. Momini, who is not a repeat offender, faces between 16 years to life in prison. His sentencing will come at a later date. Wall Street making some bets. Investors widely expect the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates today by a quarter percentage point, the third and final reduction of 2024. But the bigger question is whether the central bank is ready to scale back its expected cuts for 2025 and how Chair Jerome Powell will address questions about the Fed's path this afternoon at that press conference at 2:30. So we get the FOMC rate news at 2, and then 2:30. So we'll have volatility at 2 o'clock. At 2:30, Jerome will deliver a prepared speech and then take questions from the audience. And it's all going to be about what's going to happen in 2025. And I would anticipate some pretty big volatility. So be careful. U.S. housing starts fell to a 4-month low. U.S. new home construction unexpectedly fell in November as a drop in multifamily projects mitigated a rebound in starts of single-family houses solely in the storm-ravaged South. Housing starts decreased 1.8% to an annualized rate of 1.29 million, the slowest since July, according to the government data released this morning. The median forecast was for a 1.35 million pace. Trouble in Brazil. First, it was a collapse in the currency. Now the rest of Brazil's financial markets are in the crosshairs as investors lose faith in the government's ability to contain a deepening fiscal crisis. The sell-off that sent the real plunging to a record low is engulfing everything from stocks to local currency debt to dollar bonds, with traders even piling into hedges against a sovereign default. Market watchers say extraordinary measures on Tuesday by the central bank to stem the currency's slide are little more than a temporary fix, and warn that lawmakers' moves to water down a high-profile austerity package are likely to only add to the turmoil. And that turmoil in Brazil that's sinking the real has exposed a glaring vulnerability at some of the country's biggest companies. The 21% slump in the currency, which has gained steam this week and begun to engulf other parts of the local market, has made it significantly more expensive for companies to service their debt and cover costs. Rising local interest rates. The central bank just pledged to hike borrowing costs to 14.25% by March. Yeah. Don't ever think it can't happen here, because it has before. And Donald Trump Jr., the eldest child of President-elect Donald Trump, he is the executive vice president of the Trump Organization. He's also a podcast host and author with an estimated net worth of about $50 million, according to Forbes. Most recently, Trump Jr. was appointed to the board of directors of digital marketplace Public Square and announced he intends to join venture capital firm 1789 Capital as a partner. Trump Jr. has a lot of businesses and investments. You should probably Google him sometime. And he is very pro-crypto, along with his dad. All right. In local news, Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around the clock E-mini alert service. But it's not just E-minis, it's also gold and silver, crude and bonds. Over the last 333 weeks, we've issued over 18,700 individual handcrafted alerts. And we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, Valerie did this recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. So some things have changed since then, and I've issued some additional alerts. So she'll bring us up to date this afternoon, as she does. At the time she did the recap this morning, since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we issued a total of 32 logic alerts. We were still waiting on the outcome of 7. That gave us 25 actionable alerts, of which 2 or 8% would have been stopped out, again based on market structure and that simple process that we teach all of our passport holders. Now, the purpose of the Logic 247 alerts, yeah, you can trade them, but the real reason is to help you learn to read the charts. Okay? Whatever career path you might choose, what's the first thing you got to do when you go to college? If you've been to college, you got to go to the bookstore. You got to buy all these very expensive textbooks. And you got to read all this information so that you can become a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or whatever it is you've chosen to do. Well, you got to learn how to read in the financial markets, but it's not words and sentences and paragraphs. It's candlesticks or bars, whichever you prefer. And it's understanding multiple time frames, understanding how price flows. And if you use the logic alerts properly, you will learn to read the chart. And pretty soon, you won't need me to give you any alerts because you'll be able to look at the chart and see the same thing I see, where the market is likely to find resistance, support, and the windows of opportunity in between. Now, our original alert service, which is much older than Logic 247, the concierge trade alerts, they're a little bit different. Now, the logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock because futures trade around the clock and we have traders around the globe. Their day session is our night session and vice versa. I started a new thing and I published the alerts last night, 5 minutes before the market opened. Now, on the days that I'm going to do that, I will post in the discussion group, as I did yesterday. CTAs will be published at 5:55 p.m. Eastern. Now, I won't be able to do that every day because sometimes life gets in the way, right? But on the days that I can, I will, because it's created some really stellar opportunities for a lot of people. Now, if you're a member or trial member, you should read this information here. Make sure you understand it. If you don't, ask, and I'll explain it to you. Now, what this means is 5 minutes before the market opened last night, all members and trial members had every one of these targets: bonds, silver, gold, NASDAQ, crude oil, the Russell, the Dow, the ES. Now that's 5 minutes before the market opens, so you have a chance to study the chart, whatever markets you trade, you can be ready to take action as soon as the market's open. To give you an idea, I did something last night. I don't know that I'm going to do it every day, but maybe I will when I can. How about that? Where's my Telegram doing that? Well, anyway, here we go. So last night, 5 minutes after the open, now if you're on the East Coast, it's going to say 6:05 p.m. Telegram reads the clock on your computer. So whatever time zone you're in, that's what's going to show up in Telegram. Last night, the NQ opened at 22,309 and a quarter and dropped to the short target in just 2 minutes for a gain of 52 points or $1,040 per contract traded, and continued dropping. You'll see it when we go to the charts. The ES opened at 61.2675 and dropped to the short target within 5 minutes for a 10-point gain or $500 per contract traded. And at the time I was writing this, I said the others are still working. Silver was trapped with blue and climbing directly overhead and the 30-minute BBC right below. The Russell dropped nicely to the weekly trading zone, but at the time I posted this was still struggling to reach the short target. Crude was trying to overcome the weekly trading zone and blue and climbing to reach the long target, or it needed to get below the 30-minute BBC to get to the short target. Gold was trapped just like silver, and the Dow was trapped between the 30-minute BBC and blue and climbing. Okay, so again, I'm trying to help you understand how to learn to read the chart. You're never going to know what's going to happen next in the market with any degree of certainty. No one can. It's simply not possible. But you can know with a high degree of probability what the next high probability move is. After 18,700 individual handcrafted alerts, we've been able to show you that about 20% of the time the market does something other than what you expect. And that's a pretty good percentage. So let's go to the daily chart of the ES. This pressure cooker's still going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 now. 8 days the market has found support at the 62% fib extension. We've been in this sideways range for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days. We got resistance overhead, red and falling, and this 62, man, has it held. Now when the market coils up like this, or consolidates like this, there's usually a huge breakout coming. And with today being Fed Day, I suspect by close of business, we're either going to be below the daily BBC, or we're going to be above red and falling and possibly put in a new all-time historic high. One or the other. I don't know which. And I don't trade the Fed announcement, and I don't recommend that you do, because it's a great way to get your head handed to you. The green line is the BBC, stands for Bull Bear Cross. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. When it crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Lower prices, higher prices, lower prices, higher prices. You'll notice that when price reverts to the mean, and in our case the mean is green and we call it the BBC, price always reverts to the mean. And the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Eventually it will trade through, but more often than not the pullback will hold. And our last pullback held 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive days. Now, I want to encourage you to spend 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever you trade, whether it's futures or stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs. And the reason is institutional traders, the ones with massive account size who trade in tremendous size, they're the ones that actually move price. So, by spending 2 minutes with the daily chart before you start trading, you can see what the deep pockets are up to. You're also able to identify where major resistance is, where major support is, things that you can't see on your smaller time frames, especially a range chart. Okay? So, 2 minutes. That's all I ask. Do it for 30 days and see if you don't end up with better overall results in your trading. Let's face it, if we do what the people who move price are doing, makes it fairly simple to get your goal for the day. I didn't say easy. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. Now, the 30-minute chart is where all the alerts are created. The logic alerts, the concierge trade alerts. The vertical line separates today, Wednesday. Here's Tuesday. Back here's Monday. When price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support till proven otherwise. When price rises to a weekly zone, we expect resistance till proven otherwise. And 70% of the time when price encounters a weekly zone, you're going to get this consolidation. Sometimes it could be just 2 candles. Sometimes it could be 20 or even more. 20% of the time, you'll get rejection. 10% of the time, you'll get the slice. That's when the 30-minute candle slices through the zone like it's not even there. So last night, we opened and we immediately dropped 10 points to the short target, and we even kept going to this low from yesterday afternoon. Once we hit the short target support, that bounced us back up to the zone. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing. So we got a leg and a retracement, and then a leg that took us right up to the long target. Resistance always sends the market looking for support, and support always sends the market looking for resistance. And resistance sends the market looking for support. Support sends the market looking for resistance. See how that works? Over and over, again and again. Hang on a second. Okay, next the Dow. So when we opened last night, as I explained earlier, price was trapped with resistance overhead and support below. Blue and climbing got us above the BBC. So now we're bullish, expecting higher prices. So we get a leg, a retracement, a leg, and a retracement, and then we hit the target. This zone 44,125/130, we overshot it a little bit, and you'll see that these highs right here line right up at this area right here. Now that resistance sent the market looking for support. When you have a bullish cross, that's when the blue line gets above the green line. That leads to an extended move. The first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. And it was. It sent price all the way back to the zone, and it almost made it to the next zone. But it ran into that. You look here, you see where the step line crossed below blue and climbing and turned it to red and falling. That's an important price, important area, and it became this resistance. We didn't make it all the way to the zone. Then we pull back to the BBC, and the pullback holds. It holds more often than not, and it held, and it held, and it looks like we're trying to make a run at that zone overhead. However, you've got potential resistance here, and then again here. I suspect once the FOMC numbers come out and the press conference starts, this thing's going to be all over the place. It's better to watch it, wait for the markets to calm down, resume their normal rhythm, and then get back in. This is where we opened last night. We were below red and falling. We were below the BBC. We dropped pretty as you please down to the zone, but we didn't make it all the way to the target. Okay, now this low right here is this low, and it's this low. That's what you call a triple bottom. Okay, that triple bottom support sent us up to the BBC. The pullback held, sent us down to support at blue and climbing. Blue and climbing got us above the BBC. So we had a leg and a retracement. Now this pullback held. It doesn't look like it maybe if you're not used to looking at it this way. But as long as these candles are touching the green line, that means the pullback held. And so the next two candles took us right up to the long target, where we consolidated a bit. And then we made a run all the way up to 23.85.90. I would have expected resistance here, but buyers ran out of steam early. That sent us back down, looking for support. And as we approached this area, buyers came in early, drove us back up to the BBC, back to the long target. We're red and falling overhead. That sent us back down. So right here you've got 1, 2, 3. It's a quadruple bottom. Now we're below the BBC with red and falling overhead, but we're printing a green candle. What do you do in a situation like that? Absolutely nothing. One of two things will happen. The market will hand you this opportunity, or it will hand you, ooh, I don't think I like that opportunity. What's this high? 23.7730. See, you got to get in at 77 to make it to 79, but you could have resistance right here. So sometimes you just got to pass. Okay? Plenty of room to get your 2 points here. 23.69 to 23.67. Okay? So if that's the way it flows, I'm all for it. If it flows this way, even if we break through the zone, you got potential resistance here, 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 here. So it either falls and gives us a tradable opportunity, or I would leave it alone. But that's just me. The NQ. Now, that thing gave up, what was it, $1,040. We opened right here and we dropped 52 points to the target. But as you can see, we continued much further. The open of that candle was 309 and it dropped to 206. That's over $2,000 per contract traded. That's in the first 30 minutes of trade. Now, market found support here, and look where it closed. The 30-minute candle closed after, this was a red candle all the way down, then buyers came in, drove it back up, and the 30-minute candle closed right at the short target. Support sends the market looking for resistance. We got through the BBC, pullback held, leg and a retracement, leg and a retracement, and a leg. The market found resistance at the long target. Resistance will always send the market looking for support. So down we come. At the zone, we get a little bounce. Then we continue down to and through the target. Now notice that this low is 211 and a quarter. This low is 206. Okay, so buyers came in early, drove us back up to the BBC in red and falling. So now the market is looking for support, which it seems to have found at the weekly zone. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. Crude, when it opened last night, it was trapped. You had the zone and blue and climbing overhead, resistance. When blue and climbing gets directly above price, it becomes resistance. Now on this move up, you had the perfect stack. You had price, step line, blue and climbing, till we hit the resistance at the zone. So when we opened last night, this right here was the opening candle. Price was trapped. Came down to support, bounced up to resistance, back down to support, and then this time we overcame the zone and we made it all the way up to the long target. Now, this is a bearish cross. That's when the red line gets below the green line. When you have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. So it was for an hour, then we finally broke through it and got right up to the area. You see where the black step line dropped below blue and climbing, turning blue and climbing into red and falling? You see that spot right there? this area right here. Okay, so that resistance sends us back to support, back to resistance, back to support. And we didn't make it all the way to the BVC on this one. So that when you don't make it all the way back to the BVC, that tells you there's a lot of buying pressure. Remember, crude was up $1 today. That's $1,000 per contract traded. Now, at one point, it was up more than 1,000 because let's see, we opened last night at 70.22, so it's 71.22. A $1 move in crude is worth $1,000 per contract trading. Now we've pulled back to the BBC, and the question is, will the pullback hold? Remember, there was so much buying pressure we couldn't get to it. Now we've got to it. Now we've spiked it. That doesn't mean the next candle won't open green and begin another leg to the upside. You got to be patient, wait and see. I wouldn't short in here because you got potential support right there. And then you got potential support right there. But if price gets down here to 70.40, I would trade that down to the zone at 70.30. That would be acceptable. But again, we don't know. There's 12 minutes left in the life of this candle. The next candle could open green, take off. If it does, you could trade 70.80 to 70.90. That would be enough to get your goal for the day. Gold. We opened trapped last night. Resistance overhead, support below. Resistance sent us to support, back to resistance, back to support, and then this was just a mess. Okay, there's no definable trend here. It wasn't until this point where we had something to really work with, and that did take us down to the target. Okay, and that target was based off this right here. Support is now sending the market looking for resistance. The step line has crossed red and falling, so we should move up to the BBC. And if the pullback holds, we get another leg to the downside. And last but not least, silver. Silver open trap just like gold. The short side won out. We got below the BBC with red and falling overhead. So down we come right to the target. And what's that? Bullish cross. Blue line gets above the green line. When you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. And it was, and it was, and it was, and it was. And you see each move up to the BBC was resistance. And then we finally broke and closed below that area. That held for a long time. Keep in mind with silver, you only need 2 pennies to get your goal for the day. This candle here opened at 30.92 and dropped at 30.86. That's $300 per contract traded in that one candle. Okay. We found support at the zone. The step line is crossing red and falling. We should see a push up to the BBC. When the step line crosses red and falling, look for a retracement to the BBC. And that brings us all the way back around to the daily chart, where things are pretty quiet, waiting on the Fed. Now, Wall Street is 100% convinced they're going to get a quarter point cut today. If they don't, and I'm not saying they won't, I think Jay's pretty much committed to the fact that he's going to drop another quarter point. So if he doesn't, the market's going to go nuts. So there'll be some volatility, even if we get what we expected, because it's already baked into the cake. Okay? So you could see, even if we get the quarter point rate cut, you might see some selling. Okay? But I think the real volatility will come at the press conference. First you get the prepared statement, and then Jerome takes questions from the audience. And they're going to be asking the hard questions. And while I don't agree with his policies, I think he's pretty much a straight shooter. So he's probably going to sound pretty hawkish. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. By this time tomorrow, we'll know, won't we? Well, it's time for Michael to make his appearance. Michael, are you there? Michael's not there, man. To become a member, send an email to support@cfrn.net. In the subject line, just put, I want to become a member. In the body of the email, put your name, your phone number. We're not going to call you, but we will send you an email that explains everything becoming a passport holder entails, all the things it entitles you to. And there'll be a link you can click so that you can become a passport holder today, if you choose. 9 out of 10 traders fail because they don't have a teacher. We provide a teacher, a living, breathing teacher, live in real time, real trades, real money, while you trade along and ask questions. 2 hours every trading day. On top of that, as a passport holder, you get private one-on-one mentoring, no extra charge. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, over and over, again and again. As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You get the concierge trade alerts the second they're published. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you get the weekly trading zones. Now, we've published the zones every week for our members for 15 years. Our 15-year birthday was this past Saturday. Once they're published Monday morning, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. And you'll be able to attend the Members Only Workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you get the golden key that opens all the private channels in Telegram. One of those private channels is the Members Only Workshop channel, where each week, once we complete the Members Only Workshop, we load that thing into the channel. So there's probably, I don't know, hundreds of workshops in that channel. Do you need to watch them all? No. You can if you want. But really all you got to do is just show up for class every day. 2 hours. Show up, ask a lot of questions, and before you know it, you just might be a trader. Speaking of traders, one just showed up. Michael,
Yes.
we're ready.
All right, I will take it over here then. Hi. There. Should be over here.
Yep, looks good.
Okay, good. Here we go. Here we go. We'll go here. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 18th day of December, 2024. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button right here. There's no better time to take a trial, guys. We're getting down to the end of the year. So if you take the trial and you decide you want to become a partner, it's a deductible purchase. Sign up for the free trial here. There's no credit card required for the trial. When you do that, when you sign up for the trial, it's going to bring you to this registration page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. There are 5 multiple choice questions. If you have a Ninja Trader, you can give us your machine ID if you're going to use Ninja Charts. If you're not going to use Ninja Charts, then we don't really need that. But you should get TradingView charts, all right? Because we have our stuff on TradingView, and as you will see, our stuff is just awesome. So get TradingView, and give us your TradingView login ID, all right? The user ID, whatever it is. This thing that shows up when you hover over this, it says I'm logged in to CFRN. Whatever you're logged in is, that's what we need to enable the indicators for you. Okay. Okay. Now let's get into this. Today, this is what it took to get the goal for the day, okay? You see these last 5 days, all I've shown in here is what it took to get the goal for the day. Actually, the last 7 days, it looks like. No, actually, the last 5 days is only that. So today it took 4 minutes and 2 trades to get to $1,320. Yeah, 4 minutes and 2 trades to get to $1,320. At that point, we're up $110 a contract. We made 6 ticks in gold and 4 ticks on the ES. Got us to $110 a contract. And with 12 contracts on this, $1,320. That is where we got the goal for the day today. Now we continued trading, and we ended up with 72 ticks on the NQ, minus 25 on the Russell, plus 3 on gold, and plus 7 on the ES. So we ended with 352.50 on the morning session, but we did a lot of talking this morning, a lot of trading. And those are guys that didn't get in there this morning, I did record it. I have 2 separate recordings from this morning. I think the second one's probably the one that's better. I will put it out somewhere at some point, but today we only ended up taking 14 trades, half of what we did yesterday and every day before that this week. Anyway, so we, on the month so far, just trading after we get the goal for the day, we're at $4,152. So if you add that to what it took while we're getting the goal for the day, we're at $7,747 on the month, roughly. There may be a little overlap in there, so it's probably a little less than that. But anyway, that's pretty close to what it is. All right, so let's get into the actual trades. Okay, now, sadly, some of the stuff that I did this morning did not get saved. And so, well, I think it didn't get saved anyway. On the gold, look, it looks like none of my stuff that I did this morning got saved. I don't show any of the trades that I took on gold here. But what we did take on gold this morning, we took 4 trades. We had a plus 6, was the first trade of the morning. That was right in here somewhere. I believe it was where we came out of the overbought right here. We got 6 ticks in profit on that. And then the next trade that we took, we stopped out on, put us to -9. Then the next trade that we took, we got 2 ticks profit on, got us to -7. And then the next trade that we took, we got 10 ticks profit on, got us to +10. I don't know where all those trades were. Apparently something happened here and I didn't get all my stuff saved properly. But that was what, you know what, let me go over here to this other monitor and see if I log in over here, because I might have it saved. Just try this over here. I might actually have it saved. I click on that and I blow it up and I do have it saved. Okay, so let me get out of this. We'll go to this and leave, and we'll go back to the other one. And I do have all that stuff saved in there. Here it is. Okay, and now I'll just close this, and in here, these are the trades that we took. So this was the first trade right here. This was the one that we stopped out on. This was the one after that. We had +6 on the first one, -15 on that one, goes to -9. Then +2 on that, and +10 on that. Those were the trades we took this morning. Okay, now during the break, using the separation of the divergence trades, it was one right here. I guess it was one right here too. Right, one right here that went up and then it went all the way down. So you would have gotten some profit or possibly break even on that. Then the next trade was right here. We would have bought that right there at the open. Got some good profit on that. The next trade was right here. You would have bought that at the open. Got at least a break even, maybe better. Next trade was right here. We would have sold the open on this. Sold the open there. Perfect trade. Right here, we would have bought the open on this. Great trade. And right here, you would have sold the open on that. That would have stopped you out right there. That would have stopped you out. Over here, also, you would have bought the open of this, and that would have stopped you out also. So the last two would have been stop outs, but everything in between would have been good. Remember, you're just trying to get the goal for the day. You're not trying to trade 1,000 times. Let me shut this off. And actually, I can just go into the properties in here and shut off that, and turn that on. And turn the cover on. There. On the Russell now, this morning, we had just a couple of trades. We had a break even for the first trade, and then we had to stop out for the second trade. More trades that happened in there. Let's see. There was one, and that didn't actually get into the oversold. There was one right here. That would have not worked out. One right here. The Russell had a rough time of it, but right here, it would have had to go 10 ticks into profit. And I think that went exactly 10 ticks into profit to get your stop to break even. One right here. It would have had to go 10 ticks into profit again. I think it did go exactly 10 ticks into profit. And this one right here would have gone the full 20 or 19 ticks into profit right there. And this one during the break would have stopped you out. This one during the break, you would have gotten it right back. This one during the break right here, you would have been buying the open of this, and that would have, you'd still be working on that right there. All right, it wouldn't have stopped you out just yet. All right, that was the Russell today. Excuse me. Now the ES. On the ES, we started out with this trade right here. That's where we got the goal for the day. We got 4 ticks on. Oh, 4 ticks. We got 4 ticks on that one, and then I don't know why I wrote it down the way I did, but we got 4 ticks on that one. We got a few on that one to get us to +7. Then we had a break-even trade right in there. We had in here, there was one more trade in here. This is where we got the break-even. See, it's got to hit the overbought or oversold. The blue has to lead into the overbought or the oversold. You see, there just weren't that many trades here on the ES today. There was one right here. That would have stopped you out. There was one right here. Right here was the open of this bar right here. And 39, it dropped down to 38.25. That would have stopped you out. Yeah, so the ES was not too good today with the divergence trades. It was kind of rough right through here with the divergence trades. I want to check one other thing though. I don't know that I have this set up. I don't have the latest thing on here. Okay. You would have had a trade right here also. This would have worked out for you on the ES. And there's a long trade right here where it currently is. Okay. So one thing I wanted to point out with the divergence trades that we have right here, you know, most of the time the market is in chop, it's not trending. But when it is trending, it works when it's trending. But this divergence stuff, like right here, we're in chop. And the divergence stuff really excels when you get into chop. Because most of the time you can get your goal for the day within a single bar. You know, like this is a 7 range, so you wouldn't get exactly your goal for the day. But you can throw your stop at break even right here, and it looks like it's trying to get up to right there. So all the stuff that we've ever used before about managing the trade and using the DOM to figure out where price should go, all that stuff is still valid. Okay, so like right here, now understanding that it should get up to the prior swing high right here, that, you know that, so it should get up there. And 38 is what the DOM is suggesting it's going to get up to. That is before the prior swing high, so that'd be right here. So there's a couple of things suggesting it's going to go up, but you see we just got out with 1 tick profit on that. We did have 4 ticks profit on that for you to use there, take advantage of. But that was just buying the open of the bar after this close in the oversold. After it got down there in the oversold, the blue, you buy the open of the next bar right there. You had an opportunity to buy better than the open of the next bar. You could have bought it down here and gotten 6 or 8 ticks in profit on that trade. Okay. That is what we're doing. Now, if we go here on the NQ, this was from my lesson plan this morning. Okay, all this was from my lesson plan this morning. And wow. There's a lot of trades, a lot of talking, it was a pretty good discussion, I think. But the way we started out with the NQ, I think right here, our first trade of the morning was right here, and we picked up 48 ticks on that one. Then our next trade of the morning was right here. We picked up another 48. That got us to 96. Then we stopped out right there. That got us to 60. And then we stopped out again right here. That got us to 24. Then moving all the way through here, there was another one here somewhere toward the end of the session, probably right here, where we picked up another 48 ticks. It's probably right there. We picked up another 48 ticks. That got us back up to 72 on the NQ. Now, this was part of the lesson plan this morning, but what I was saying just a few minutes ago about how this excels in chop, you see all these circled areas right here, that's chop, where normally we wouldn't have any trades. But here, every one of these lines, pretty much every one of those lines is a trade trigger. All right. So if you just go through all of them, you go through all those lines in that 1 hour period from, like, I think we did a 1 hour period from here to over here. I guess it was crunched up a little more. We did a 1 hour period from here to here, something like that. We did a 1 hour period, and there were 17 trades or 16 trades, and out of the 16 trades, there were 2 stop outs, which both I got. And the other 14 trades, if you just got 20 ticks on the other 14 trades, I mean, you can do the math on that if you want. Let me, I don't have the question box up, so if anybody has any questions, I didn't get them yet. Okay, nobody asked any. Good. I'm sorry, I don't mean good. I mean, I encourage the questions, but I'm not missing out on anything. So 320 ticks. You just got 20 ticks out of the winners, and they were all at least 20 ticks. If you just got 20 ticks out of the winners, you have 320. And if you minus the 36, 72 ticks for the 2 losing trades, you have 248 ticks. If you just got 20 ticks out of the winners. All right. If you just got 28 ticks out, if you just got 20 ticks out of the winners, you have 248 ticks. That's $5 a tick. You know, you can do the math, right? Even if you did it with a micro, and it's only 50 cents a tick, you know, you're still up 0.5, still up $124 with 1 micro. But divided by 0.5, you have 248 times 5. Times 5 is $1,240 is what you would be up just doing 1 contract, taking all those trades, and taking, if you had a 20 tick target on every trade. Now, most of them went a lot more than 20 ticks, the winners. I mean, these are 31 tick range bars, right? So if you look at this, the way that I did it this morning is let me do this. The way I did it this morning is I just showed price like this, right? I didn't have price on there, and I just showed all the trades as they triggered in here, these 16 trades. This is what I looked at this morning. I guess I went back and drew some more on there. It was these 16 trades right here. Now, right here, we had this, well, right here where it came out of the oversold. The reason we have the cover down here is so you can easily identify where the trades are. All right, that's why we have the cover down there. Now, if you just see where the blue leads out of the overbought or out of the oversold, leaves into the overbought or oversold, right here there would be a trade, the blue lead. That's a trade right there. That's a buy. Right here, the blue lead, that's a sell. Right here, the blue lead, that's a sell. Right here, the blue lead, that's a sell. Right here, the blue lead, sell, 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 sell. We didn't have too many buys in here. Right there's a buy, sell. Right there's a buy, sell, buy, buy, sell. See, and I put the arrows in here in the directions that they were all going. So you can see that there was just a ton of opportunity in here. And this was in that 1 hour period from, pretty much from the open for an hour. And if you look at all those individual trades, this was a buy. On the open at the arrow is at. It's a buy on that bar at the open. a win. Buy on that bar at the open. That one would have stopped you out. And this is sell on that bar. Sorry, sell on that. That wouldn't have stopped you out. I'm sorry. It has to go nine points against you. So this would have worked out. So this was a buy on the open. That would have been an obvious win. This was a sell on the open. So the sell is right here. Now, normally you're going to get a better price than that, but the sell would be right here at 67.75. So add 9 to that. 78 is what it can't hit. And the highest you got up to was 76. So you'd still be in that trade. You'd take a profit on that. And that's a win. That's a win. That's a win. This one right here is a win. This is a win. This is a win. This sell right here is a win. You're selling on the bar that the arrow tip is on is what you're selling, right? The open of the bar that the tip is on. So that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. No, that's the stop out right there. I took that one and I stopped out. This would have been a buy on the open of this bar right here. It didn't pull back enough to stop you out. It ran up more than 30 ticks, 40, 50 ticks right there. Then you had a sell right here. In the middle of all this, you had a sell, but that would have been captured in the other buy, so that wouldn't really been anything in there. You had an opportunity to buy right here, and that pulled back, but it didn't pull back enough to stop you out. All right, so you would have been in all of that, and that would have captured this trade right here, so you would have been in that trade during this trade. In here, another buy right here, good for 30 ticks at least. Another buy right here, good for another 30 ticks at least, and a sell right here. This one would have stopped you out. I took that one too. That was all from this morning in 1 hour. Okay, there was just a ton of opportunity there in that 1 hour this morning. So you can see all this stuff was from the lesson plan this morning, where I was going over how the leg lengths work and how you can use the leg lengths to your advantage in managing the trade the way that it currently is. So yeah, that was it. So let's get all the way over here. That was the NQ. We ended up with a plus 72 on the NQ today. Now, let's just go here and we'll see if we got any trades triggering right now. All right, you see right here, the blue is leading down. The blue right here is leading down by just a little bit. Nothing is leading right here, and over here, the black is leading down. Okay, so if I bump that off and then back on like that, then you have it. Okay. All right. See the black lid down right here, so you're not going to be buying with the black leading. You want to wait until the blue actually leads the way down. Does anybody have any questions about any of this stuff as I've described it thus far? Hopefully you don't. And everybody sees how simple this is. And you all just want to get started using it. Hopefully. All right, so I'm waiting here for anything to give us a reason to trade. We just don't have it right now. It is now 1:15, so we have 15 minutes left in this section of the day for me. All right, still nothing. So looking across these here, we don't really have anything that you can do. You know what I haven't done lately is go and look at anything else. So let me just hit save on this. And I'll go in here and look at the Bitcoin. I haven't looked at Bitcoin in a while. Look at Bitcoin. I think that's an all-new high right there at 108,000, right? 108,000. That's pretty sweet. And if we go over one more, silver, Looks like it had a pretty big move. The YM, I haven't looked at the YM in a while. I have not been paying that close attention to it. XRP is now at 249. I had a high today at is that today? Yesterday at 272. So I had a pretty good high yesterday. I think the all-time high on that is 290 something, right? Yeah, 291. This year, the yearly high anyway is 291. I don't know. When I look at it on my phone, Coinbase has all that stuff pretty easy to view. What is that? What is that? It's a dinosaur. It's that is. I don't know. I never noticed that before. It doesn't have a date there. Because that was before it existed. If I right click, it says alert, add an alert. But it's the same as a right click anywhere else. No, actually it says add an alert. I right click on that, add an alert at that. That is interesting. It's not the same as a right click anywhere else. Interesting. I mean, I know all this stuff means there's news coming out and stuff, or news that came out. But I guess they have a bunch of news coming out here. That's on the 18th. That would be today. And there's something on the 19th, and there's something on the 20th, and there's something on the 24th. You have FOMC coming out today, right?
Yeah, and depending, I mean, it's a quarter point cut is baked into the cake. So I don't think Jerome's going to mess with that, but I think his language in his statement and the answers to the questions from the press are going to be pretty hawkish as far as additional rate cuts next year. So the market hasn't had a big sell-off in a long time, but I think one might be in the wind. So it's an observation.
It doesn't matter to us. We make money both ways.
Yeah.
So
it's the beauty of futures.
Be some good opportunity for us, I would think. So the blue just led into the oversold right here. So we have a buy right there on gold, right where it's at. Right? The buy, the open of the bar was right here at 52.3. 52.3. Okay. So I have my limit order right there at 52.3. Hopefully I'll get filled. If it goes 5 ticks into profit without filling me, I'm going to cancel it. And it just did. Darn it. It just did. I know I should have just left that thing there. I should have just taken it. Well, anyway, following the rules right now, the way this bar came together, the open right here, this is some chop. And I was saying just a minute ago that this excels in chop. Right here, you had an opportunity to sell it right here at the top of that bar. The open of that bar is what you would have sold. That moved down at least 10 ticks there. The open of this bar right here is what you would have bought. And so far it's gone from 0.3 up to, it's gone 9 ticks. So you have the full 9 ticks in the range of this bar. So that's $90 a contract. Almost the goal for the day right there within that bar. One of the things that I was saying earlier is you don't have to have it on a 9 range anymore. The reason I was doing it on a 9 range and the 19 range and a 7 range and a 31 range is because it was a multiple of 4 minus 1. It made it easier to do the math when you're trying to put the buy stop limit or sell stop limit order on ahead of time. But you don't have to do that anymore. Okay? You don't have to do that because usually what's going to happen is the bar is going to close and I'll have the open of the next bar and then you'll have a little bit better entry point. Usually. I mean, right now it's in some pretty tight chop right here. So, the top of that was, it just went from the top down to the bottom. So it went from the bottom right to the top. If it closes up, it didn't have any extra move on the entry point. But usually it's going to have a little extra room on the entry point to make sure that you get the right entry. And like over here on the NQ right now, see we're selling right here at 650, but I just filled at 825. So right there, the open of that bar where the blue led up, The open of that bar was a spot to sell. I just got a better entry because it went right through it a little bit right there. So now when it gets down to 425, right down here, I'll bump my stop to break even. And I'll just manage a trade from there. What do I expect it to do? I expect it to get down to the prior swing low right there. That's what I expect it to do. Okay. So you manage it accordingly. If you had a 20 tick profit target on this to get your goal for the day, just the goal for the day, you're halfway there right now. All right, we just had 10 ticks in profit on that. More than 10 ticks. We didn't get the 16 that I'm looking for to bump the stop to break even. That's my rule. But if you had a rule to bump it at 10 ticks, you would already have it at break even. If you're just trying to take 10 ticks, you would already taken your 10 ticks. Okay. So this bar here, the open of the bar after ended up being a gravestone doji. Now, there's nothing, it went the full 9 ticks in favor of the trade before it gave the down close right here. There's no other trade here after that. It's got to get out of the oversold, either back into the oversold or into the overbought to give you the next trade. And this one over here went 10 ticks into profit, about 14 ticks into profit. It didn't go the full 16 yet, but we'll just wait it out. It should do it. We should see a move down. See, it didn't get up above the prior swing high right here. It stopped at the prior swing high. So we just want to see it push down to right here, and then we'll bump that stop. That's just about there. Then we'll bump that stop. Come on, get down there. Just a little bit more. But again, if you're just looking for 10 ticks, half the goal for the day was just there. And then some. Nothing else has given us a trade yet. Right, not yet. So I think we're going to get that pushed down here. I think this bar is going to close down, and when this bar does close down, 310, 311, 8 points down from that. Be 303. That would be enough to get the stop to break even. We don't have anything else yet that we can trade, so we'll just pin on that. The black led into the overbought here, so there's nothing we can do with that one. The black's leading in the overbought there, so there's nothing we can do with that one. Okay, and we're just waiting on the NQ now. Finish doing what it's going to do. Now my stop should be 9 points away right now. Should be 9 points away. Go up here and look. 1750. It should be at 1725. There we go. Stop to break even. There it is. Stop to break even. All right, now you could hit the break even button if you wanted to on this. I'm going to lock in some profit right now. There's 8 ticks, 12 ticks. And so now what it should do right now is go all the way down to the prior swing low right here. That's what it should do. As this moves down from this overbought position, moves down into the oversold, it's 2 bar lengths. Usually it takes 2 bar lengths to go from the overbought down to the oversold. So that's what it should do right here, is move all the way down there. And I have a 48 tick profit target on this, so we should probably hit that 48 ticks down there. Okay, we're in at 825, and I just locked in 28 ticks right there. So I'm out with 28 on that. Okay, how hard was that? It's pretty straightforward, right? Pretty straightforward and easy stuff. Now, nothing else is given the trade in here yet because the black lid on every one of these, the black lid into the overbought, the black lid into the overbought, black lid, and this is the only trade we had here. Where this led, we had the one gold over here that did give a full 9 ticks in profit and then came back down and then moved back up. So even if you didn't move your stop to break even after that 9 ticks right there, you just got an opportunity to take 10 or 15 ticks right there on that move up. The entry point would have been here at 2.3 and it ran all the way up to 4.1. So it was 18 ticks profit in there. Okay. Yes, this is using the DT Pro DOM, John. Still using the DT Pro DOM. I mean, you can do it over here on this one too if you want, on the Sierra DOM, if you want to do it there. And you know, I was looking out last night. For those of you guys who use NinjaTrader, I created this DOM last night on NinjaTrader, which isn't horrible to look at. All right, you see it's not jumping around like crazy. Like, you know, usually they have that yellow thing that's flashing all over the place so you don't know where price is, but price is right here. And I could make that white so it shows up better, or maybe yellow so it shows up better in there. But I created this DOM last night for NinjaTrader. And if you want the settings for that, I'll right click and I'll go here, go to properties, and I'll bring up this, go to colors right here. And these are the colors. If you want to take a picture of that, take a screenshot of that. Those are the colors that I use to create this DOM. Okay, so the DOM is a lot like what we're used to looking at when I create it like this. As a matter of fact, that number in there, that's the blue. Let me see if I can change that bid price right here. Is that what it is? I think it's this one. Change that to what price does not. They have so many prices and have so many colors. Let's choose. Let's try purple. Apply. Is that purple? Is that the right one? Yeah, it is. Okay, so it changed to purple. Okay, so that's the right color anyway. Let's just change it to that. Hit apply. It's okay. It's not great, but the bid price and the ask price, they're right here. All right, that's what you'd be changing, those prices. Change them both to crimson. And hit apply. And then it'll be red in there. All right, so you can see that pretty good. But anyway, that is how you create this DOM on NinjaTrader. Those of you guys that want to use Ninja, that is much easier to look at than the way that it normally is. All right, so right here, guys, right now, I know I just ran out of time, but right here, there's a trade right here, a long trade right here on the ES. So you have an opportunity for a better entry area here on the ES. The entry point would have been, it would have been right here at 34.75, but you can enter right here and get a better entry. This was not a trade over here because the blue did not lead and nothing else is led over here. So those are the trades that we had so far. We had this one over here on the gold that was a winner. We had this one over here on the NQ that was a winner. We have this one right here that's really nothing yet. All right. But the ES should make it up to right here, 36.25 at a minimum. Should make it up to 36.25. And it is in chop as well. So that is it. With that, I think I'm going to wrap it up and I'll send it back out to Fabulous Phoenix, Arizona. Before I do, let me show you how to take a free trial. Go here to mytradingiq.com and click on the purple button right here. When you click on that purple button, there's no credit card required. Click on the purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. Fill out the form down at the bottom. If you have a NinjaTrader, give us your machine ID. If you have TradingView, give us your login ID. It'll get your indicators indicating for you as much as we can on the charts that you choose to use. All right, that is it with that. Passing out to Fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready. Excellent. That ES trade is starting to run right now. Stop at break even on it. Stop at +2 on it. And there it is. I'm out with +2 on that ES trade. So 3 winning trades in this session. Worked out okay. All right. I can see your screens.
All right. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 4 minutes and 2 trades to get to $1,320.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys. It is time to wrap it up with our good word for the day. Yesterday we talked about meditating on the scriptures. today, try to be more gentle. 1 Thessalonians 2:7. We were gentle among you. Bulldozers are good at demolishing things, but they're useless at building things. With that picture in mind, ask yourself, do I use the force of my personality and the power of my position to impose my will on people and get them to do things my way? If your answer is yes, then understand this. Those who are the most controlling are often the most afraid of being controlled. Question: what do you fear would happen if you treated others with respect and considered their input, ideas, and choices? Is fear and intimidation the only way you can imagine holding on to relationships? Wouldn't you rather earn the love of others by being considerate rather than cruel? Or are you willing to settle for fearful submission? If you need to, talk to a friend or counselor and try to get to the root of the deeper issues that are driving your behavior. Over the next week, try not to criticize or rob anyone of his or her right to choose. Remember, even God gives people the power of choice. And you're not God. Keep this challenge going for 2 more weeks, or for as long as it takes to get your controlling attitude under control. Paul was prolific enough to write the epistle and powerful enough to raise the dead. Yet he said, we were gentle among you, just as a nursing mother cherishes her own children. 1 Thessalonians 2:7. When people made mistakes, Paul said, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted. Galatians 6:1. So the good word for today is try to be more gentle. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.